Assalamu alaikum. Welcome to the program Question Time, and I'm your host Dilesha Warzedi. Viewers, you'll be able to watch this program every Saturday 5 p.m. to 6 p.m. inshallah, and inshallah every week we'll be here with a new topic for you, and our telephone lines are open. You can join the discussion with your live calls, and you can join us with your views, and you can also ask questions. Our alim is here to answer your questions, and I have one request: please ask questions related to the topic. So before we move forward to the program, I would like to introduce our honorable guest at the studios right now. He is here with us, our renowned Alimuddin Maulana Abbas Mirza. Assalamu alaikum Maulana Sahab, and welcome to the program.
Assalamu alaikum. Thank you very much for inviting me again.
No, thank you. And Maulana Sahab, as you know that today we have the same topic of prophethood, but we are like focusing on the infallibility of our prophets, right? So I just had one question in the beginning. Why do we say that the prophets are infallible? Are there any evidences from Quran? So that we can let the viewers know about this fact, that why are prophets infallible?
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim, and Assalamu alaikum to all our viewers, and welcome to Question Time. Thanks to Hidayat for inviting me again. Yes, as you've been following us, we have reached to the point where we are discussing the prophethood and the need and necessity of prophethood, why revelation is required by mankind, and clearly pointing out to our previous program in which we mentioned that science doesn't have answers for everything. Science have taken the place of God here in the West or in the world today.
Yes.
However, science it's not absolute, plus it doesn't have answers for everything, so it's very much required by man in order for his felicity, for his progress, for his development. A revelation and a prophet is required. That becomes the essential reality of prophethood, that in order that man reaches perfection, it requires, or man reaches its purpose of his creation, it requires a revelation. And now today, as you mentioned, we will look into the aspect or the phenomena of infallibility or immunity, why it's required. There are two reasons, obviously. For those who are non-believers, who do not believe in the Quran, they need intellectual reasoning for the prophets being infallible. And obviously for those who are believers, yes, Quran have talked about the infallibility of the prophet very clearly. The exegists have pointed out to how Quran have used the word mukhlas, means that Allah purifying them, which we'll look at after discussing.
The word mukhlas, okay.
The mukhlas with the fatih lam, which points out to that God have purified, which happen to have a difference of opinion with the Sunni school of thought, which we'll point out later on. However, we'll look at the intellectual proofs of the infallibility. Infallibility is a categorical belief in Shia school or in Islam in regards to the infallibility of the Prophet. Now, if you look at the intellectual reasoning for the infallibility, number one is the objective of the mission for the Prophet is to guide mankind. Now here he is here as a guide. He is here to teach and to perform and to show. If we think or doubt in any sort of error or mistake on behalf of the Prophet, on behalf of the teacher, then obviously where lies the guarantee that we will be acting or we will be doing an act which the Prophet have showed correctly.
He acts as a role model for the whole humanity.
Right.
As a role model, yeah.
Right.
Okay.
So he has to be sinless, and as he is sinless, he is faultless, so to speak, or he is infallible, then his actions and his sayings will be accepted by people 100%. If there be any sort of flaws in his behavior, in his action, then the message, the people who are taking the message, they will be doubting the message. So it's very much required that he be far away from all sins, and his actions is taken as a role model, so that when I'm acting the way he's acting, then obviously my actions will be right. So it's very much so, and the issue of where he's where he's misrepresenting, or where he is putting his own understanding in the message, which could be of mistake, then obviously what guarantees that this message, which is the Quran, this message which is coming from God, which is which are the commandments, are considered to be 100% correct, right? So therefore this person who is bringing down the message or who is delivering the message have to be infallible.
Yeah, he has to be flawless in his actions and in his behavior.
That's the first reason on the intellectual side of it. Number two is the issue of training and teaching, education and training, which is known as ta'aleem wa tarbiyat. We are of the opinion that, and it is scientifically proven as well, the intake of man affects his behavior. Just before the Super Bowl, the football players are fed chunks of meat so that they become strong and they get that weight on their body, so that when they are in the field, they should be strong, to hold the enemies or the opponent, to take the ball and enter their sort of like their field.
To bear the pressure on them.
Right. So what the intake have an effect on the outward behavior of man. This is certain, right? Now, obviously, this applies upon the spirit of man as well, or on the soul of man as well.
Of course.
It requires that he should be so pure that if his saying and his actions should have that tarbiyati effect, must have that educational effect, must have that training effect. You see, if a person says something, he should really mean it. It is something he has acted upon it, and it will have that effect. You see, so he has to be an expert. He has to be flawless. He has to be without any errors if he is in the field of leading and training and teaching, right? So prophets who are considered to be the leaders of the communities, prophets who are considered to be at the apex of the creation or apex of the society, right? They have to be so perfect in terms of their behavior, in terms of their spirit and soul, that their actions and their sayings will have that impact upon the masses, upon the people. And that's what we have seen. Keeping aside the Quranic or the faith side of the thing, if you look at any political leader, any political leader who himself is down to earth and who have lived with the people, who really wants to benefit the poor and support the humanity, he himself must be of that caliber, of that type.
Of course, yes,
right? And he should have, he should believe in what he's saying, and he should be someone who have acted upon it as well. That is why, for example, Mother Teresa, Mahatma Gandhi, all of these leaders have an effect because they have lived their life spiritually. They have acted in that fashion, and because of that, they have gained that spirit of flawlessness in them. So when they say something, it will have that effect, right? So we are talking about prophets here. So they themselves have to be of that caliber, of that substance, that they have never committed an act which will weaken their soul, which will weaken their spirit, such as oppression, such as committed sins, those acts which were abhor or dislike by humanity, by society. They themselves must not have committed that, and must not commit that, in order that they have that tarbiyati, educational and training effect upon the masses, upon the people. So these are the two proofs of infallibility of the Prophet. They're two intellectual proofs which doesn't require any Quranic or religious basis as such. One is that what lies the guarantee what the Prophet is saying is correct or not. If he is infallible, then the person who is taking that message will have no doubt. If he doubts in his message, the reason of the doubt is that perhaps the Prophet or the Prophets, they are making an error, then there remains no no reality of guidance, of Hidayat at all. There's no such thing. Everything will become relative. That's one. Number two is that prophets are those who've been sent by God for training, for tarbiyat, and also for education, for ta'aleem, and education and tarbiyat.
Of the masses.
وَيُعَلِّمُهُمُ الْكِتَابَ وَالْحِكْمَةِ. These are the two things that they've been sent for. So these are the two proofs. Now, as you pointed out, to what are the Quranic proofs,
evidences,
evidences in regards to the prophets being mukhlas.
Yes.
See, Shaitan in the Quran have clearly mentioned in Surah Araf that لَأُغْوِيَنَّهُمْ أَجْمَعِينَ إِلَّا except those who are your worship, ibaduka, those who worship
I will
you.
misguide.
Misguide them.
Only those
who are your worshippers, and those who are sincere ones of yours. Mukhlasin. There are two types of khulus. Khulus means sincerity. There are two types of sincerity. One is mukhlis with a kasr lam, and one is a mukhlas with a fath lam. Okay, the kasr lam, mukhlis, means that a person he himself tried to purify himself, and mukhlas means someone God purifies.
Okay, once I will continue with this discussion.
Yes.
Right now we need to take an azan break.
Yes.
So inshallah we'll continue this discussion after azan. Viewers, we need to take a break, and then we'll be right back after this just azan break, and inshallah we'll be back after the azan. Thank you very much for watching.